This is the artificial intelligence voice of Jordan Peterson narrating this pod slice summary of the Jordan Peterson podcast. The podcast features a conversation between Jordan Peterson and Saeed Al Nazari. Peterson starts by introducing Nazari, pointing out his current role as Secretary General of Great Arab Minds and discussing the Triple Faith Initiative, the Abraham Accords, and the United Arab Emirates' Adria growth. Nazari vividly describes the transformation UAE underwent from an unstable region with a harsh climate and minimal infrastructure in 1962 to a prosperous country with one of the world's most competitive cities hosting over 200 different nationalities today. This transition, according to Nazari, was enabled through unity and a shared vision. He details how the UAE's founding father, Sheikh Zayed, believed in the power of unity. Sheikh Zayed saw potential in the people and united the disparate peoples under one vision: to build a country that embodied their culture, values, and traditions and could turn every challenge into an opportunity. In addition to geographical positioning, transform their challenges into opportunities by investing in education, trade, and economic focus, all while sticking to their cultural identity. Education was a path to growth despite limited. Discussing the country's origins, Nazari illustrates the UAE in 1971 as a desert with main occupations in farming, fishing, and pearl diving. However, trade was a consistent trend, leading to it being a significant trade hub today. Unity in the face of adversity, coupled with meticulous planning and visionary leadership, Nazari believes has led to the country's tremendous growth. Despite being steeped in a rich history complicated by tribal affiliations, the UAE has managed to band together, primarily due to the vision and trustworthiness of Sheikh Zayed, who wanted the best for the people of the region. The foundation Sheikh Zayed laid led to the UAE becoming a global trade hub and cementing its place amongst the top 10 most competitive cities globally. Despite vast economic development, primarily due to oil, the UAE aims higher. Nazari emphasizes the importance of honesty and having the best intentions for all, emphasizing that these values allowed the UAE to transition from a sandy area to become a global trade hub. According to him, the best way to succeed is to aim high and remain honest. In this section of the podcast, Jordan Peterson and Saeed Al Nazari explore economic development in the United Arab Emirates WAD. They delve into how, despite the country's oil wealth, it's the diversification of the economy paired with innovative development strategies that have truly contributed to the nation's growth and stability. Nazari provides interesting insight into UAE's economic decisions, explaining that oil was an enabler, but reliance on it could sometimes lead to short-sighted decisions. Instead, UAE implemented strategic economic diversification, and now less than 5% of Dubai's GDP comes from oil. Nazari credits the country's success to turning problems into opportunities, particularly leveraging their strategic location to become a global trade hub and investing in sectors like logistics and transportation. The discussion shifts as Jordan Peterson poses the question of how the UAE has managed to attract foreign companies and investor trust. In response, Nazari describes the UAE's commitment to creating a secure and conducive environment for businesses to thrive. The credibility and consistency in the government's actions have helped nurture trust and attracted people to set up a life in the UAE. Peterson then proceeds to draw parallels between the education system and the creativity security balance in Japan, United States, and the UAE. Nazari's view is that maintaining security does not necessarily compromise creativity. The UAE has proven this by ensuring a secured environment and simultaneously encouraging creativity. To prove his point, Nazari references the architectural landscape of Dubai, which is a hub of design innovation, where creators from around the world come to demonstrate their creativity. Finally, they discuss the UAE's initiative in hosting the Expo 2020, a world exhibition where almost every country participated and exhibited something representative of their nation. The event afforded a platform for countries to showcase their ideas on tolerance, connectivity, and cultural differences and similarities. This example further demonstrates how the UAE consistently balances creativity, security, and economic development in a harmonious way, making it a sought-after destination for both residents and businesses. Nazari underscores how the UAE consciously fostered a combination of national Arabic and Islamic values into the DNA of its people. resulting in its residents having a clear understanding of what aligns with their identity and what doesn't. Community to differentiated thoughts, as Nazari calls it, holds immense importance in maintaining UAE's cultural legacy even as it integrates with the global community. The conversation shifts to the value placed on family in the UAE. Nazari mentions how family is central to their identity, driving much of their values and beliefs and grounding individuals in UAE's community. While the number of individuals in a family may have decreased over time, the value of family has remained strong. During the discussion about stability in the region, Peterson mentions the unique situation regarding women's rights in the UAE. Nazari responds saying that women's rights and gender balance in the UAE are unique and competitive worldwide, with over 60% of the government workforce being women. This progressive support is not just limited to workforce, but extends to education, family, and lifestyle. Nazari speaks to the deep respect and pride he holds for his daughter and how it symbolizes the respect accorded to women in UAE society. He also highlights how the Arabic tradition of naming fathers after their children underscores the value placed on the next generation. Discussion about the radical differences between women's rights in Saudi Arabia and the UAE ensues, with Nazari positing that regional differences contribute to the diversity in societal norms and growth. And he does foresee a positive shift in the region with major events like the World Expo and the World Cup being hosted in different parts of the Middle East, thereby bringing hopeful and transformative experiences to the region. Taking the conversation forward, Peterson and Nazari explore the concept of global influence and how UAE has positioned itself as a model of growth and development for the world. Nazari points out the international recognition UAE has received, often referred as the Dubai model in several media publications. As he puts it, Dubai has shown that you can actually achieve your dreams within a short period. When asked about UAE's relations with its neighbors and their development strategies, Nazari refrains from commenting as a diplomat, but expresses that the UAE has always maintained respectful interactions at a global level. This, he explains, has earned the UAE considerable trust from many nations. Nazari mentions UAE's commitment to humanitarian causes and large-scale presence in philanthropic activities worldwide. The country's physical presence, from schools to hospitals, extends to various global locations, which builds credibility and illustrates the impact a small country can create. Deeper into the conversation, the two discuss the Abraham Accords and UAE's relationship with Israel. Nazari revolves his response around the enforcement and demonstration of peace and tolerance. He proudly acknowledges how UAE's actions visibly stand behind these principles, promoting universal respect, safety, and inspiration to accept differences. Further, the dialogue turns toward religion, showing the UAE's recognition and appreciation for diversity. According to Nazari, religious differences are respected, deviating from simple tolerance to genuine acceptance. He provides the example of the Abrahamic family house, a site hosting a mosque, a church, and a synagogue, embodying UAE's ethos of unity and harmony. Nazari emphasizes that such concord doesn't need magic to manifest, but merely the right environment. Historically, the major Abrahamic faiths have been at odds with one another. However, an understanding shared by Jews, Christians, and Muslims of seeing their different faiths as allies could produce better global unity. The Abrahamic house serves as a beacon of these prospects. Both Peterson and Nazari view this as a significant shift in the Middle East dynamics. Finally, the discussion veers towards Nazari's involvement in youth-focused projects, yet the details of these projects and their implications await elucidation in the subsequent part of their conversation. To expand on the ongoing discussion, Nazari delves into his work with youth-focused projects, demonstrating his passion for fostering the potential in younger individuals. Highlighting that about 50% of the UAE's population is under 35, Nazari explains that the UAE government has a Minister of State for Youth Affairs and holds a strong focus on youth empowerment. This is not merely a buzzword in UAE. The government actively works to transform the concept into tangible results, showcasing how such a small nation can influence and achieve global change. Discussing his work with the Federal Youth Authority, Nazari outlines his ultimate goal to provide a conducive environment for young people to realize their full potential. For example, Nazari received an email from the Prime Minister, an act of personal attention that profoundly inspired him. From that moment, he knew he wanted to help others find their paths, spurring his work in youth empowerment initiatives and policies. In terms of practical implementation, WASP has various programs where young people are the primary decision makers. They can participate in designing strategies, policies, and solutions to challenges ranging from education and mental health to housing, by effectively enabling young people to partake in major decisions that impact their lives. The UAE government makes them feel valued. One example is a policy in which youth sit in on meetings at government agencies, contributing their ideas and perspectives. The approach bridges the gap between the country's leadership and its younger generation. An illustration of this is the weekly event where the president meets with the public, including young people, to discuss their aspirations or challenges. This direct bonding has created a high level of trust in leadership among UAE's youth. Furthermore, Nazari describes the UAE's stance on youth motivation, contradicting the Western narrative. In contrast to the Western tendency to link masculine ambition with patriarchal oppression, the UAE's approach drives hope and ambition in its youth. This Nazari asserts that from daily interactions and work with young individuals, he observes not only hope, but also a tenacious drive for a promising future in the UAE's youth. Within the discussion between host Jordan Peterson and guest Saeed Al Nazari, Nazari shares his observations on the transformative power of hope and ambition in the younger generation of the UAE. He notes that just a decade ago, young people in the UAE might not have even dreamt of becoming astronauts and exploring space. However, with the government actively promoting youth participation and creating spaces for their input and talent, Nazari has noticed a dramatic shift. Many aspiring young individuals now express their desire to become astronauts, largely due to role models made accessible through various youth empowerment initiatives. This drive to turn the impossible into possible is a sentiment echoed throughout UAE schools and universities, igniting a chain reaction of motivation and ambition. Moreover, the cabinet of the UAE showcases this youthful potential with ministers as young as under 30 and 35, including ministers of economy, youth affairs, and community development. This strategy has instilled hope and optimism in the UAE's youth demographics, who now see a clear and achievable path to success. Nazari also shed light on the UAE's initiative called the Creator of Minds. This program aims to identify and celebrate role models in various fields such as medicine, physics, chemistry, economy, technology, engineering, and design. The goal is not just to recognize these individuals, but to empower and inspire others to follow their footsteps. It's addressing the significant number of talented individuals leaving the Arab world. Nazari emphasizes the region's need for these role models as a source of inspiration for the next generation. This realization has spurred initiatives to discover hidden gems and turn them into visible role models. The discussion then shifts to the challenges facing the UAE, mainly posed by social media and the influx of information. The impact of these platforms at times threatens the cultural identity and values of people. Hence, it becomes crucial to embed core values within communities to guard against. An interesting social experiment is mentioned where a broken car was left on a side street in the afternoon, intending to measure society's responsiveness. More than 15 young Emirates voluntarily offered help within an hour, highlighting the fundamental values of hospitality and help ingrained within them, values they aim to pass on to future generations. These core values act as a buffer against the negativity that can sometimes stem from a constant influx of global information. The discussion takes a philosophical turn, with Nazari reflecting on the biblical story of Cain and Abel, which symbolizes the conflict between good and evil within societies and individuals. His message advocates for taking full responsibility over our actions and to nurture the Abels within communities and selves, thus promoting kindness and humanity. In summary, this portion of the podcast delves into the transformative power of youth empowerment, the challenges of cultural preservation amid increasing globalization, and the role of positive role models in guiding future generations. The conversation between Peterson and Nazari has taken an even deeper turn as they discuss the shared humanity and universal principles of good and evil. They cite the concepts of Abel symbolic of good and Cain symbolic of evil as universal characteristics within societies and individuals alike. Peterson and Nazari advocate not merely for recognizing these aspects, but nurturing the bales within us and our communities to promote kindness and humanity. Peterson shares his excitement about visiting the UAE and expresses his interest in meeting Nazari personally. He also expresses appreciation for the positive developments occurring in the Middle East, particularly the UAE. This sentiment overturns the often negative Western perception of the region, establishing a refreshing narrative focused on peace and generous cooperation. Nazari reciprocates his thanks to Peterson for hosting him and uses the analogy of sharing a positive experience, like a good movie or a delicious meal, to describe the UAE's desire to share their successful model of leadership and development with the world, making a compelling point about the UAE's successful socio-political model. Nazari shares how the nation's leadership has managed to build a society that promotes hope, service, and personal growth. This successful model, he believes, is something that could be adapted by other communities around the world. Reflecting on his personal experience, Nazari speaks about his purpose in life being to share the goodness he has experienced and seen in the UAE with others. He believes that helping others see this good and having a positive impact on their lives is an integral part of his purpose. Peterson concludes the segment by expressing his interest in exploring Nazari's personal history in more depth on another platform. Peterson extends graces to the film crew and the audience for their participation and support. They both look forward to further collaboration. In their concluding words, Nazari mentions the influence of Peterson's content among the young people of the UAE. The shared values regarding goal setting, vision, character building, and the similarity in their languages depict a universal understanding which brings their cultures closer. Peterson ends the conversation on a positive note, emphasizing the solid foundation that these shared values provide for future collaborations and mutual growth.